Hello friends and welcome to Life with Mona. So this is our very first episode where we are shooting with film crew in Africa, and as you can see, things are very different, faces all made up, yay. So to kick us off today, we are going to start with an interesting and usually very controversial topic. Today we're talking about what I am calling the other partner. I've used these words deliberately because usually we talk about what the other chick, the side chick, the away game, the home wrecker, and all these negative connotations. And I don't want to use the negative connotations when we talk about this topic today. Also, there is a trend that's happening right now where, to be honest with you, it is not just women who are having affairs, as we call them, or, relationships outside of their marriages. It's not just women who's doing, it's not just men who's doing that anymore. Women are doing that as well. So I'm going to call it the other partner because it's swinging both ways. So when I talk about this thing today, I want to do it without judgment. Why? Because we have judged the situation for so long. We have judged married people having relationships outside of their marriage for so long that I don't think many of us have actually stopped to find out why this is happening. And that's what our conversation is about. So a year ago, I did a series on Facebook, a 21-day series. Now, I was doing a lot of these series for different things. I did 21 days of men, 21 days of women, 21 days living single, 21 days of God. So basically what I was talking about, I was exploring these different topics on Facebook. And then a friend of mine started telling me about a relationship she was having with a married man. And as I listened to her and as I sort of walked through the journey with her, I realized that there's so many layers that we don't know about this situation that happens to honestly, to God, respectable, good people. So I thought I'm going to do a 21-day on that. And when I started, let me tell you, I knew I would be alone in this topic. Why? Because predominantly my audience is Christian, married women. So I knew the minute I start talking about the other woman, I would lose my audience. And for the first 5 days, I think I had like 1 like, 2 likes, 3 likes, all of whom are my family members. So they didn't even really count. So they count. I love you guys. So they didn't even really count. So at some point I was like, should I stop talking about this, or do I just dig in and continue because I feel it's something we need to talk about? And I said, you know what, even if it's just me and my sisters who are going to go through this journey as I talk about it, I'm going to do it. And as I continued, by day 7, the likes picked up, 20 likes, 30, 50, 60, 100. The likes were just picking up as the topic was continuing. And I realized the reason why it was picking up was because I was talking about relationships. And the people who were reading this realized we were not trying to celebrate the situation. We're not trying to condemn the situation. We're saying this is something that is honest. This is something that happens. And when somebody is going through this, this is what they're walking through. And the day that had the most likes was, I think it was around day 19. And my friend, the thing that she lived with the most in this relationship she had with this guy, she went through a lot of things. She went through joy, she went through happiness, she went through depression, she went through not feeling good enough, she went through feeling unworthy, she went through feeling loved, she went through everything. Pretty much everything anybody in a relationship would go through. But the one thing that was unique in her situation was shame. She felt ashamed of herself because she never imagined that she'd find herself in a situation with a married man and be unable to get out, no matter how many times she tried. So this shame lived with her. And it's something that I think reduced a lot of who she was and stood in the way of so many things that she could have done with her life, because her outlook of herself as she stepped out of the door almost every day was shame. And so on around day 19, I wrote about shame. And I wrote about shame, not just in a situation like that, shame for so many things. My own life, there's so many things I've had which I've been ashamed of. Things that I wish my mother would never find out. You know those kind of things? There's so many things I've done which I never thought I would do. For number one, I met my ex-husband online. Never thought that would happen. I got married to him after being with him for 9 months. Never thought that would happen. Got divorced after 7 years. Oh yeah, I've been saying it's 5 years. I found out it's actually 7 years because I stopped counting our marriage the day we decided to have a separation. But between that time and getting divorced, there was a 2-year gap. So I was actually married for 7 years. Never thought I would get divorced, and I did. And since then, there's so many other things in my life that I felt I should be ashamed of, and I had shame living with me. And when I wrote about all this, and I said at the end, no matter how much shame you're going through, still you will rise, still you can rise. We got about 255 likes, including from people like pastors and counselors, and and I thought, this is a conversation we should be having. We shouldn't be talking about necessarily how right or wrong or how horrible these people should be feeling about themselves. No, these are human beings, and this is a conversation we should be having. Why does this happen? When it's happening, what's going through somebody's mind? If somebody wants to get out, how do they get out? If somebody can't get out, what do they do? That's what we should be talking about. We should be talking about, as a society, what is our definition of a relationship, of a healthy relationship? What do we want to do about that? Do we need to rethink some things, for instance? And for me, at the end of that 21-day series, I think so many lives were moved and touched, and so many people sent me private messages. So many women sent me messages, men sent me messages, just asking me, what do I do? I'm in this situation, what do I do? I think my husband is doing this, what do I do? And today, or this week, as we go through life with Mona, this is a conversation we want to be having. Let's take this thing by the horns, and let's talk about it in the realest, truest sense. The other partner. How do we deal with that? Whether you're in it, or whether you're experiencing it, or whether somebody is in it. And so that's what we'll be discussing. And we have a new name for this particular series, where it's just me talking to you. It's called the MonaLogues. So we'll be calling this the MonaLogues. And the reason I have said that is because I need to do a shout out to James Kariuki, Captain James Kariuki, who came up with the quip, the MonaLogues. So you've been watching the MonaLogues, and on the MonaLogues, we're talking about the other partner. And this week on Life with Mona, that's our discussion. Thank you. Mwah.